I have been trying a lot of new base products. There has been a lot of new products coming out at us. It's like, what is good, what is not. I have been trying out a lot of products over the last little while, and I wanted to share with you some final thoughts. I've been putting some things to the test, and I want to deliver those thoughts to you, my friends. For those of you who are new here, hello, welcome. I feel it's necessary that I preface this video by saying that I have very, very dry, sensitive skin. So that is the bias that I am entering these reviews with. For those of you who share in my world of dryness and sensitivity on my face, it's coming from that point of view. So lots to cover here. I would love to hear your thoughts on some products that you have been loving, any new products that you've been trying. Let us know all your feelings in the comments down below. And without further ado, my friends, let us dive in. Lots of newness to talk about. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with primers. I'm going to deep dive into the Benefit the Porefessional Light Primer. Now, last year was the year of pore primers for me. I really took a deep dive into that. I was having some things going on with my pores, and I took it upon myself to really embrace the world of pore filling primers. And there was a lot that I loved. I never really played with the original Benefit Porefessional primer, but when they released this one, this new light version, which is 73% water, I was very excited. I was excited to put it to the test. And in my brain, before touching it, swatching it, anything in the haul, I thought that it was going to be like a water-based primer, which it is, but I thought that that meant that it would be a little bit more liquidy and kind of lose that like goopy silicone-y feeling. I was incorrect. It is in fact the same primer, just made with more water. So it is a lighter version, but it is still a thick silicone-y primer. So when you squeeze it out, it is very much that like goopy, putty, kind of boogery feeling. And then the way I like to use this, I have really, really exposed big pores just around my nose here on my cheeks, and I like to press that in. And then anything I'm applying on top, usually I would like do a beauty blender and apply my foundation on top of that. It does exactly what it says. It has a blurring effect. It minimizes the look of the pores. And what I actually love about this is, perhaps because of the water, I don't know, it's got a really nice cooling feeling, cooling sensation. And it just feels good on the skin. Has a nice smell too. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It does what it says. It does what it claims. That's the whole point here. Does it do what it says it does? And this one does indeed. And I have to say, I'm kind of like out of my phase of pore filling primers a little bit right now. I'm definitely entering that like spring, summer, glowing, dewy skin embracing moment. So I'm not like really reaching for these every day. But as far as it working, absolutely, it was a beautiful product. And if you need some pores to say bye-bye, shove a little bit of this goop on it. It was great. Let's move on to the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer Plus Hydrating Primer, aka the new replacement from the beloved Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. Primer and moisturizer in one, aka the primer that I have loved and used for years. I feel like I got no warning. I had no time to say goodbye before the one day I just saw it removed from the Sephora website, and I was absolutely devastated. The main thing that I wanted to find out was, what's the difference between these two primers? What have they changed? Because it essentially has the name, but apparently the new primers have what they call their silk screen formula. So when you look at the ingredients, there's actually a lot less ingredients in the original primerizer. This one has a lot more. There's a lot more like fruit, added extracts, and fun little things. The claims pretty much remain the same. It's just meant to be a nice, hydrating, loving primer for the skin. So dry gals will very much enjoy this, aka me. And the only difference in feeling between these, actually, the original primerizer is a moisturizer in one, right? So this is the original primerizer. This is the new silk screen. So you can even see it dripping. Like this one's just much more wet. This one with that silk screen ingredient does just have this more silky, like slightly more thick feeling to it. But as far as it being applied on the skin, I didn't notice much of a difference. It did feel incredibly hydrating. It was really nice to use. I actually really enjoy the new packaging. Like I love a glass bottle because it feels so nice and fancy, but I accept the rebranding. I accept the new product. It was very nice and did feel good on my dry skin. I actually really love that like all the primers they came out with have the same packaging. I thought that looked really uniform and nice, and I get why they did it. I haven't played too much with the Illuminate one. I'll have to keep you posted on that. But as far as these, I do accept the replacement. I know. It was hard. It took me some time, but I did get there, and I do approve of this. It was a really beautiful primer if you're looking for a good hydrating primer. Okay, let's move on to foundation. There have been so many new foundations. It's been genuinely overwhelming to try and decide which ones are great. I think I just need to retire from foundation reviews, if I'm completely honest, because it's just a lot. There's just too many. I can't keep up. But I have 3 here for you that I have reviewed and wanted to give you my final thoughts on. First of all, the new Makeup Forever HD Skin, the Undetectable Stay True Foundation. Now, I was very excited for this foundation launch to come through because it's the little loving pair to my beloved HD self-setting concealer from Makeup Forever. So I was like, naturally, I'm going to love this because I use the Makeup Forever concealer every day and I love it so much. Really appreciate the packaging. I think it's very sleek and nice, and I love the pump. So the claims of this foundation are that it's a natural finish, it's long wearing, medium coverage, and it's best for oily combo normal skin, which I didn't really realize at first, to be honest. I was like, here's me with my most dry skin using this foundation that's made and formulated for combo oily skin. The one thing is it does claim to have a natural finish, and I actually found this one to be very, very matte on my face. Now that could be because I have more dry skin, but this one in terms of finish was just like, yeah, let's go with natural matte, but it was much more on the matte side. I definitely preferred this wearing like my much more thick and hydrating bases. I've been using my Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. I'd love this with Welleda Skin Food. If you have dry skin, you definitely need to prep and hydrate before using this in my humble experience and opinion. I think the coverage is really nicely adjustable. I've really sheared this out and put a nice thin layer over my skin. You can also build it up to have more coverage. It's a really beautiful foundation. I've really enjoyed it. In terms of where it's going to live in my collection, like what I'd use it for, this isn't an everyday foundation for me. Not that it's like not light enough, you can really sheer it out, but I prefer like a much more hydrating and more dewy feeling product to use for every day. This one's gonna be perfect for when I really need long lasting makeup, if I'm going to an event, if I'm doing photos, if I just need my skin to last. This is a really great option for that long lasting aspect. And sometimes when you're on the more luminous dewy side of the foundation life, it can look shiny and not nice in photos. So if you're like looking for something to look good for a long time in events and photos and whatnot, this is a great foundation for that. So I've really enjoyed it. It's definitely going to be used and loved in my collection for sure. Let's talk about the Rose Inc Skin Enhanced Luminous Tinted Serum. Now, when I saw that this was released, I was really excited and picked it up instantly because of my love for the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh tint. I've gone through multiple of these. This has been a long-term love for me. It's a product that always makes its way out of the stash in the spring and summer months. I can't wait to like pull this out and play with it again. It's such a beautiful product. So I was like, ooh, a less crazily expensive dupe. How exciting. The Chanel one is 85 Canadian dollars. The Rose Inc one is 65 Canadian dollars. Like that is still a very high price point. So yes, it's a dupe for the Chanel one, but like it's still $65. You know what I'm saying? So I was really looking forward to testing this out and seeing if it was worth the hype that I've been seeing it get. It does have the little pigmented spheres suspended in this lovely little hydrating liquid. Now this is a sheer tint that's supposed to have light coverage, and it's supposed to be ultra luminous and hydrating. And the first time I used this, when I showed this in my little haul, someone had commented that they really loved to like smush out all the spheres on their hands and apply it with their hands. So I was like, ooh, yes, I love things I can apply with my hands. I'm gonna try that. It didn't work. I was smushing those pigments, and I just found that when I was applying with my hands, I was literally just like pushing the pigment around and like lines were appearing. It was very bizarre. This one definitely needs a foundation brush. That's the instructions like on the box, on the bottle. Mix with a foundation brush to activate the micro-encapsulated pigment spheres and blend gently onto the face. You need a foundation brush. I've actually really been loving the IT Cosmetics number 102 brush with it. This has been my brush of choice for that. And once I apply it, it is beautiful. It is a super light tint. So this is reserved for those like good skin days where you're not looking for a lot of coverage. Maybe you don't have an active breakout. You just want something to even out the skin tone. For myself, I have a lot of like redness and just general pigment living on my face. So I always love to have some kind of base, even if I'm not going in with a lot of concealer. So this is a perfect product for that, and would be really ideal, like going into spring and summer where I just generally gravitate to lighter makeup anyway. What I found interesting with this is that it, for me anyway, like had a very matte finish. It did not give me any noticeable luminosity, glowiness, or hydration. Like this one, I was still needing to put on like my really thick moisturizers, making sure I have that nice moisture barrier. And I thought it was interesting because I wanted to try it next to my Chanel one, because my Chanel one's like the most juicy, oozy, watery, beautiful tint ever. And when I swatched them side by side in my hand, I was like, oh wow, you can literally see visibly the difference in these. So this is the Rose Inc one. This is the Chanel one. You can even see, oh my God, like look at the Chanel literally dripping away. Like it is so much more watery and hydrating. And when you rub it out, let's smush these little capsules of pigment. The Chanel one is darker, please forgive. I'm gonna give it a minute to sit, and you'll see that the rose ink one dries down where the Chanel one maintains that like really, really glossy, like hydrated look. Okay, so hopefully you can see the difference. Look at how shiny and luminous the Chanel one is versus the rose ink one, which has just completely dried down to a very skin-like finish, which is not a bad thing. That is a beautiful product. I love to have a natural skin-like finish, but the Chanel one's just like, look at the wetness. The rose ink one is just, do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was worth noting. Now that I have these both in my collection, if I were to use them both up, and if I were to go for another one, me as a dry skin gal, emphasis on the dry, I would go for the Chanel Water Fresh tint. Another thing to note though, the rose ink one does have many more shades. So the shade availability is much more significant versus the Chanel one, which has very minimal shades. So that's also something to consider. Those are my thoughts. Still beautiful. I'm still gonna use it. You're probably gonna see it in a lovely little everyday makeup bag switch up. But yeah. She dry. I have one more little base product duo that I want to talk about, and I'm actually really sad about this one. I really, really wanted to love this. I was so excited about it, and I just have to preface that the dreams did not go as planned here. So, Danessa Myricks recently launched her Yummy Skin Primer and her Yummy Skin Serum Foundation, and when I first saw this, I saw it on the Sephora website, I saw it on her Instagram. I love Danessa Myricks. There's been so many products that I've used and loved over the years from her. I love her style of makeup. I think it's phenomenal. And I was so excited about this. I thought it was just gonna be right up my alley. It's all things glowing, hydrating, niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, dewy, plumpy, all that goodness. It was all about glowing, yummy skin. I was like, yes, sign me up. These products are made for me. I can't wait. I literally had them in my cart. I was gonna buy them, and I actually very kindly received the PR package from them. So to say the least, I was very excited to try this. Let's talk about the primer first. This one claims to be good for dullness, uneven texture. It's hydrating, plumping, made with hyaluronic acid, has a radiant finish, and is good for dryness. Like, these are literally all the claims on the Sephora website. There's 2 shades of this. I'm obviously using the lighter one, which is the shade Main Squeeze. And these are nice little multi-use products. You can use it on your own. You can mix it in with a foundation if you want a more glowy, luminous base, yada, yada, yada. When you first apply it, you're like, ooh, it's very goopy and glossy and serumy. Looks super promising, looks beautiful on the skin. It's got a little bit of glitter running through it, but nothing like too large that you'd be shocked by. But this looks like everything I'd want in a primer. And for whatever reason, when I applied this and then used the foundation after, I was just like instantly so dry. Like, usually when I'm applying my hydrating primers and I'm going in with my foundation, like when I use my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, like I just feel like glowy and dewy. And I wasn't getting that. I was actually feeling quite dry, and I actually filmed the video the first time that I used these. And I just had that instant like tightness around my mouth, which is usually where I'm trying to like hydrate and kind of address the most. And then I applied the foundation, which is a serum foundation. It's got this really awesome little like dropper package. And the first time I used it, I did apply powder, but I mean, lately I've been applying my powder with mostly everything. And because this was claiming to be like a very hydrating, glowing combo, I was like, surely I can just do my normal routine with the powder. But whoa, baby, it caked up. It settled into my fine lines. It settled into my dry patches, and I was super, super dry that day. That was the first time I used it. I have used both of these on their own following, and I did get the same effect. I just didn't get any of the hydration from it. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you guys have tried this, but it is luminous. This one does have a buildable coverage. It does sheer out nicely, but I just found it to be very dry. So for these in particular, in terms of like my makeup collection, I do want to continue playing with it. I do want to make it work for me. I want to make it happen for me, but I think that this is going to be in my little like concoction pile. So I do love to play mixologist here and there with my foundations, and these two I think would be really beautifully mixed in products like my Welleda Skin Food, like just that more thick hydrating base. I would even be happy to mix it in with the primerizer. Like, I've done many concoctions in the past, and I do enjoy doing that sometimes. I'd even add like a face oil into this. I think that'd be really nice, but I would just be reserving this for my little playtime concoctions, and I would just need something a little bit more hydrating in there. So that was my experience with the Yummy Skin products. Danessa Myricks, I'm sorry. I love you, I do. I'm sorry. It seems that we're just having a dry moment here, because the last product I want to talk about is actually a concealer, and it is the new Dior Backstage Concealer, which I was very excited about. I picked up 2 of these. Did I mention? Sorry. The Danessa Myricks one, by the way, I was using the shade 4N, and in the Dior Backstage Concealer, I have the shade 1N, and I also picked up 2N, which would be more of my fake tan shade. I did squeal a little bit inside when I opened this up. I think the packaging is to die for. It's very much in line with the Backstage foundation in this lovely little tube. How cute is this? It's also got the little Dior like etching in here. Very cute. And what I thought was really unique about this concealer is it actually has a brush applicator. It's not a sponge. It's literally like a little paintbrush. Hopefully you can see that there when you're applying the concealer. You're like literally painting it on, and it is the most satisfying feeling on your skin. It just makes you feel like you're painting a masterpiece. I am Picasso when I'm using this, so very delightful. Love the packaging. A++ for that. Now in terms of its claims, let's just head on over to the website here. It says it's long wearing, hydrating, medium coverage. It says full coverage on the Dior thing. Hold. High coverage, natural glow finish. Okay, this is very funny. On the Sephora website, there's two sections. One says medium coverage, and then about the product says full coverage. So we'll just go with the box. It's more than light coverage. It's got a lot of coverage, allegedly. And it's supposed to help the skin feel energized and visibly depuff under eye circles. So in general, this concealer is kind of your everything concealer. So you can use it under the eyes, you can use it to spot treat, splash proof, crease proof, all the good stuff. So my experience with this concealer, first of all, I had a very bizarre first encounter with this concealer. I'm definitely a creature of habit when it comes to my concealers, so I just assumed that I'd be going straight for the beauty blender. The first time I went to blend it in, it like didn't move. I was literally like wiping it around with the beauty blender. It was very bizarre. I had to take the Patrick Ta brush approach where I blended it out with a brush first. I was actually using this little lovely hourglass brush. I don't know which one it is. It doesn't have a name on it or anything, but lovely little densely packed kabuki brush looking thing. I took this to blend it out. Worked like a charm. This is definitely, in my experience, a brush using product. And then I went in after with my beauty blender and kind of, you know, smoothed everything out, and it was beautiful. Definitely didn't get the radiant finish from this. I got that more natural matte finish to this. Definitely one of those products that I would reserve for the more hydrated base, and perhaps if I wanted my makeup to be a lot more long lasting. This wouldn't be added into my everyday bag, but I would definitely pull this out for special occasions and for the more like eventy, dressed up, longer wearing makeup occasions. But yeah, just a little bit more on the matte side, so we'll save her for special, more fancy nights out. So my friends, those are a few of my final thoughts on these lovely new in products that I have been putting to the test for you. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you guys have had similar or different experiences with any of these products, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And if there are any products that you want me to pick up and put to the test, please also let me know. You guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for being here as always, and I will see you all very soon for a new video. Bye!